Hi everybody, welcome to TCM Talk. Sorry for the little delay.
Hi everyone, I'm a licensed acupuncturist and herbalist, and I'm the creator and owner of Angelica and Peony, radiant health and beauty care made with Chinese medicine and aromatherapy. With me as always,
Denise Chiquito, licensed acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist in San Francisco and Alameda, California.
If you would like to know more about the things that we talk about during our TCM Talk broadcasts, which are about monthly, you can find links to everything that we discuss during our broadcasts on our Pinterest board, which is pinterest.com/TCM Talk. You can find links to replays of all of our videos on our YouTube channel, which is short URL there, bit.ly/TCM Talk vids. And you can email us questions or ideas for things you'd like us to discuss about traditional Chinese medicine and holistic medicine to our email, traditionalchinesemedicinetalk@gmail.com.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm just going to tweet us out.
All right.
Take it away.
So today we're going to talk about activism and healing and resilience, and we're going to start talking about sort of the 5-element approach to our emotions and how we can take that out into the world during this pretty difficult time in our country. And Kirsten's going to talk about first of all her approach as a healer and how we can approach this healing the world.
Yeah, so, Denise and I live and work and practice in California in the U.S. So for us in the U.S., this has been a pretty tumultuous year, concluding with what for many of us was a very shocking and disturbing events of our presidential election. So for many of us in healing and who do social justice work, this has been a very challenging couple of weeks. And I wanted to start out so we're going to be talking about that, focusing really on that, because that's on our mind in some ways more than all things holly and jolly, I would say, at this time.
Yeah.
So, just to share a little bit, if you would like to read more about, my views on this, you can visit our Pinterest board to read the full article. But in the, week or so after the election, I really, tried to think about it from using my healer's eyes, because that was the way that I was able to make sense of, what I was feeling, what people in my community were feeling, and really, many people around the country and around the world in response to these kinds of forces in the world, which frankly are not just in the United States, are everywhere around the world. And so I looked at resources from traditional Chinese medicine in terms of how we see imbalance and really seeing what the whole world and the human community is going through now as a type of imbalance, really a type of illness. And that enables me to come at it with compassion and also with a hopefulness. And in particular, one phrase, which is a statement of fact in traditional Chinese medicine. It's kind of an aphorism that we use to help guide us in our treatments. One of the ones I particularly wanted to share with you, because I think it's really important for all of us to remember in all circumstances, not just in particularly high-profile, difficult times like we're in right now, which is that it is impossible to drive out evil qi without righteous qi. If the righteous qi is not strong, the evil qi cannot be driven out. And this is the way that the ancient Chinese doctors talked about pathogenic factors, epidemics that attacked people. Why would some people get sick and some people not? Why would some people recover and some people not? And partially it has to do with the strength of what is attacking. There are some pathogens that no one can overcome, but in all cases where folks are working on recovering from illness, in holistic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine, one of the things that we really focus on is not just attacking back at the pathogen that is coming at us, at whatever it is that is attacking us and making us sick. But we also focus strongly on strengthening our own inner resources. And I think I think the parallel kind of draws itself, but in terms of working for social justice and standing up against hate speech or dangerous types of legislation, or whatever might be coming at you from the outside world, it's vital to remember that we cannot resist these things unless we are strong in ourselves, and that is strong in every sense. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So I encourage you, whatever action you may be taking in your own life, and I remind myself of this, I remind Denise of this, it is vital that we take care of ourselves, that we nourish our righteous chi of ourselves and of our loved ones and of our communities. So in a practical sense, this also means, strengthening our civil institutions, strengthening the social justice organizations and nonprofits that are helping to foster the health of our country and our communities. In our second Periscope today, we'll talk a little bit about that, bringing attention to the charitable organizations that bring alternative healing to folks who otherwise wouldn't be able to access it. So I encourage you to come back for our second Periscope, or visit our Pinterest board for links to lots of those organizations.
It's a great way to think about it, Kirsten, not just in terms of that our righteous chi is the chi that supports us internally, but that the organizations that we want to support also are the righteous chi for our country.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we heal in Chinese medicine. We stop, what is trying to come in and make us sick. We work to do that. And we also work to strengthen the body so it resists, attempts to make it ill. And I think that metaphor, works very beautifully for the body politic as well as the individual body.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Kirsten.
Of course.
So talking about leading into the emotions and the 5-element approach, I'm still learning about the 5 elements myself. I've been doing that all in this past year. I'm a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, but I'm studying the 5 elements now. And to start with that, I know Kirsten also wrote another article about this, is that this is the time of the year, the fall and the winter are the time of the year of resting and gathering our resources and strengthening ourselves. It's the dark time of the year. We know that there's less light outside. The winter solstice is when the light starts to come back into our lives. And to think of that as a metaphor for, not just the light outside in the daylight, but also the light inside of us. We have to go into, my teacher Laurie Deshar talks about this in our mentorship program, Alchemical Healing Mentorship, is that we have to actually go through the darkness to see the light. And take some time. If you are, there is no judgment about people who want to get up and fight and go and be active right now, but there's no judgment for people who need time to gather their own strength and to sit and feel all their feels and to take care of themselves before that they can get up and fight the good fight. It just varies per person, and know that they can exist at the same time. You can also be strengthening yourself while doing stuff to change the world and the world you live in. But everybody takes their own path. And so right now we're in the time of the metal elements in the fall. And the emotion associated with that is grief. And sadness. And when you breathe in and you breathe out, and when you have a bowel movement, you're letting go of stuff. And the metal element gives us the space to let go of stuff that we don't need in our lives anymore. And it also gives us the space to appreciate what's precious about our lives. And so I didn't actually say this, but breathing, the lungs and the large intestine are associated with the metal elements. That's why the breathing in and breathing out and the having bowel movements.
So the random political bowel movements in our Periscope.
Yeah, so things you can do to nourish the space for the metal element in this time include practices that focus on the breath. Moving meditation, qigong, tai chi, yoga, any other mindful breathing practices that you can think of. Those are good ways to nourish the metal element. And any other suggestions you have, Kirsten?
No, I guess not. Nothing leaps to mind.
So, and I know Kirsten was talking about with me before the Periscope about, appreciating what we have, what our rights are, and the rights that we do want to hold on to, and how precious those liberties are in our lives. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit about the metal elements in the fall. And the winter is the water element, and it's really about like the deep darkness that comes before the growing light. And sometimes right now it might be hard for people to see that. There are some people who are better at seeing or trusting that the light's going to come back, that there is going to be hope. But sometimes associated with the water element is the feeling of fear. And one way you can help to soothe that or to alleviate that is by giving yourself information, concrete information, reading good, reliable journalism, supporting good, reliable journalism as opposed to fake news sources, and figuring out what's the best way for you to approach taking in information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, water has many forms that it comes in, obviously, but from a 5-element perspective, I think often when we think of water, we're thinking of the vast darkness of the sea and the unknown, and there's a kind of almost, dare I say, primal kind of human reaction of the sea monsters or what is unknown. We can't live in that environment. We come from it ultimately, and we carry it in our bodies, but there's an unknown quality, and that can often trigger fear, the unknown, the unperceivable. We can't see what's at the bottom. We don't know what's in there. And so I think that's where, and we actually have a link to a great article from one of Denise's teachers that goes into this in further detail about how we can respond from each of the different 5 elements to seasons of shock and trauma and grief and fear. But I think this answer of gathering information, of gathering meaningful information so that you're responding to what's really happening and not the vast depths of the unknown is a way to answer some of that fear, that inchoate fear that we can experience, especially in times when there is a lot of unknown.
Right.
We don't know exactly what's going to happen.
Absolutely. The wood element is associated with the liver and the gallbladder, and the wood element wants to move. It wants to get out and do things. And when the wood element is, the energy of the wood element stuck, it can cause pain or stress in the body. Different parts of your body might be in pain. There's a great article I think I linked to by I can't pronounce it. Alchemical Acupuncture, I think, about TMJ and having how TMJ may be related to us not being able to voice, to stand up and speak our truth. And that is definitely associated with the wood element for sure. Anger happens when the wood element's energy is stuck. But it's not just anger in the negative sense, it can also be working for righteousness in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess the Ani DeFranco righteous babe is coming to mind as an example. You know, somebody who stands up for their rights and
sense of breaking through the barriers or the energy that has gotten stuck and isn't moving. And sometimes it takes that energy, that forward moving energy of anger or a powerful, like a dandelion busting through the concrete, with the force of the plants, you know, the plant's life force that kind of encapsulates the energy of the wood element, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's about growth, and it's about, you know, spring as the season, but also springing forth, like you're saying. And so that leads to, you know, different forms of activism, including protests and marches, and, you know, making phone calls, finding ways in everyday life to speak your truth and to speak up against injustice when it happens in your world. So now that leads us to the fire element in the summer. And again, these don't necessarily have to happen during that season, but it may indicate more of where you're coming from and what's more in your constitution. So the fire element's really about communication and how you communicate with people, and it's about joy and passion and compassion. And what can happen when there's a period of trauma in our lives is that we can be shocked, and the shock scatters the chi of the heart, the chi of the fire element, and sometimes that might leave somebody being not knowing how they're feeling, or feeling numb, you know. And I think this is probably a good time to talk about the rain meditation that I'm going to link to. I linked to on our Pinterest board. The rain meditation quickly takes you through recognizing what emotion you're feeling, acknowledging if it's anxiety, it's anxiety. If it's worry, it's worry. If it's fear, it's fear. And then investigating how you're feeling that, how you're experiencing that in your body and your life right now, in your mind. And the N in the rain is to not identify with it. In one of the guided meditation versions of the rain meditation, it's likened to, there's the sky and there's clouds, and no matter if the clouds are stormy or not, the sky is a container for it, and the clouds just pass through it. So just know that you're not your anxiety, you're not your fear, that these are emotions that you're experiencing, but they're not all encompassing. And so one way to help with the energy of the fire element is to connect with people, you know, and that can be either online or, you know, or in person. And I really encourage people right now to seek out that actual person-to-person connection. And if you live someplace where you can't actually connect with people in person, you know, try to find a way to do it virtually, you know, because sometimes in this world where we're living a lot of our lives online, we can be isolated.
Yeah.
You know.
The fire element, you know, as you're saying, is also, you know, which is about communication, and there's a lot in there about self-expression and artistic expression, and the healing power of art, both to create it and to consume it or be part of it. I think is an often, for some folks, maybe an untapped form of self-care and healing, but definitely can be part of a balanced approach to emotional self-care, especially in trying times.
Absolutely.
Go see art, create art, you know, color, journal, sing, listen to music, whatever whatever feeds your spirit, whatever sparks your fire, is going to be, necessary in keeping your heart warm and available in trying times.
And you don't necessarily have to be an artist, you know. you can sing in the shower when there's nobody around, or
express yourself,
dance only in the with your cat watching you. Whatever you do, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just it's a good way to express yourself. That's the most important thing.
Exactly.
Or, as Kirsten said, to appreciate art that other people make.
Be inspired.
So that leads us to the earth element, and the earth element is about devotion. And it's about community, it's about abundance, and it's about being in the embrace of all of that. And the negative side, the emotion associated with that is worry. And that's something a lot of people are doing right now.
My bangs are covering all my worry lines.
But finding ways to be in community and figure out what you want to do, what your intention is to change, what your intention is for changing the world, or changing your environment, changing your nation. However, whether that's, as one of my friends was saying today, learning a different language so that you can communicate with your neighbors. Going to learn a new language, or going to community meetings, or or writing, or whatever it works best for you to find your intention in this difficult time we're in right now. That's my suggestion for dealing with the worry part of the earth elements.
I agree. And the earth element, has a lot to do with nourishment, and connection and groundedness. That's part of a healthy and balanced earth element, is a sense of being grounded. So some other activities that might nourish the earth element, again, always, but all the more so now, would be sharing meals with people, cooking together. If you have if you volunteer at a place that brings food to people, or food justice connected organizations, connecting people to the earth. I think environmental activism often, is connected to a sense of the vitality of the earth element. And also, with the earth element, one of the ways it becomes worry, the earth element is connected to the process of digestion.
I know what you're going to say, because I was going to say it too.
No, please
go ahead. No, please start. But great minds think alike.
So digestion works by, we take in food, we chew it, we digest it, we process it, we take out of it what is nourishing to us, and we let go of what is not nourishing to us. That is the process of digestion in a nutshell. And a very, in Chinese medicine, we understand that the same thing happens with intellectual food, with ideas and understanding. And especially in our, current online world, it's so easy to get mental indigestion and be utterly overwhelmed with information and ideas and urgent things that are coming at you. So as we, come all the way down, come around through the 5 elements, we're coming back to the water element, where we were talking about getting information, and sort of peering down into the dark water and seeing what's really there, and what we what we need to know, and what we need to think about. So this is really vital as we think about taking in information that we don't take in more than we can handle. that we take breaks from it because information overload is not actually helpful, that we take what's useful from the information and we let go of what is not. This is a challenging practice for a lot of us, but one I'd really encourage you to think about. And again, for me, that food metaphor is really helpful. You can't do anything with too much, and you have to just take what's useful and let go of the rest.
Absolutely. And I think I've said this before in one of these periscopes too, is the idea of separating your consumption of food with from your consumption of information, or information and news. Can you take at least one meal out of your day or one snack time out of your day and not look at the news, not look at Facebook, not look at, not even, reading a newspaper, just enjoying the food and getting the nourishment from the food and letting your body digest? Because I know that in the couple of days after the election, I really had to make a point of telling people, like, if you want to talk about the election, you go over there. If you want to just eat and converse with me about other stuff, come sit with me. Because I actually physically had trouble digesting my food while talking about the election at the same time. So those are some of our suggestions, and we've got lots of links on the Periscope board.
So take a look at them when you're not eating.
Right. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. Do you have anything else you want to add, Kirsten?
Well, the only thing that I would add is, a lot of folks know about acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine for things like pain, or they may know about them for particular types of health complaints. But acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine is a fantastic tool for your mental and emotional well-being. So if you find that you're struggling because of the results of the American election, or because of other things, there's plenty of sorrow in this world that brings us challenges. I really encourage you to look into treatment with a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. And if you'd like to have some help finding someone in your area, please feel free to message us or email us, and we can connect you with a practitioner. It's a very, very powerful resource that's available to you, and I really encourage everyone to try it.
Thank you for that, Kirsten. Awesome. We will be back in just a few minutes with our suggestions for causes that you can connect with, organizations that you can donate your time and resources to, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.